I'm addicted. Addicted to car living. Addicted to living cheap. One of the things that I'm noticing about living in my car for 4 years now is as I look at home bases, it's very hard mentally to break the addiction of not having many bills. And I would caution someone who is thinking about selling their house or getting out of their lease to live in their vehicle. It's very hard to get back into the conforming life. And so if you decide to sell your house or get out of your lease and you live in a vehicle, car or van, you're going to basically almost put yourself on a journey that you may be homeless for the rest of your life. Because once you're used to not paying property taxes, utility bills, or rent, it's very hard to accept paying those again. However, it may be very hard to accept living in a vehicle, dealing with the public, dealing with extreme weather, dealing with a life that can be a destitute life at times, depending on your circumstance. So, you know, it's like living cheap is a game. I've often said sometimes living cheap is almost like a mental illness because it's an obsession. Obsession, OCD, is almost, it's like a mental illness. You are so fixated on something, mentally you can't let go of it, or you can't adapt or change. Now, through the grace of God, and I put a lot of work in taking care of myself well, I mean, I have the ability to adapt and change, but it's not easy. And so I'm able to be self-aware of when I'm getting into a place of obsession, which is not bad because that creates focus. Then that's how you get stuff done. But you have to be aware if it's time to change, you're willing to redirect your mind, redirect your life. Many people struggle with that. So, you know, you get to this point where you're living in your vehicle, and then if you need to get back into the conforming life, you're going to spend probably at least $2,000 to $5,000 to get an apartment in order to put first month, last month security deposit, then get furniture, get your furniture out of storage, and get back into this flow of regular life. It's a big investment. If you're going to buy a house, then you're going to put your down payment, 3 to 20% down. You're going to have a mortgage again. And even if you pay cash, you're going to have property taxes, utility bills, HOA fee maybe. So you go back to this life where you have all these extra bills. Some of them are BS. Some of them are just part of the cost of living somewhere. And so for someone who begins to live in their vehicle, live very cheap, and just really has to worry about food. Your number one cost is food, but you can adjust that depending on how much extra disposable money you have. Food, fuel, car insurance, cell phone bill, and health insurance if you don't have your employer pay for it. So those are basic bills that you're always going to have with you no matter what. But when you live in your car, those are really your only bills. And obviously, if you have debt, you can add that. But then you say to yourself, if I've been able to survive in my car or my van for years, I've been doing it for 4 years, why do I want to spend more to survive in a house or an apartment? And the answer is eventually you feel like it's just a better quality of life. Maybe eventually you just get bored with the nomad life, or eventually you're going to need more comfort and stability as you get older, and it's to hedge your bets if you ever get sick. Also, you pay for the convenience of having one stationary location. If you find an area of the country that you like, you want to get connected to the community, and it doesn't make sense to live on wheels because you are no longer traveling a lot. So those would be reasons why you get off. But no matter why you would get off the road, you still are going to have to face this mental number one, and then financial number two hurdle of getting back into the regular life. And I think that's going to be hard even for me. And so I think about all the other people that are living in their vehicle. Are they ever going to be able to get back into the regular life? Especially if they're on the borderline of not having too many resources financially and not being too adaptive mentally. If you start to live in your car or van, you may live that way till you die. Now, that's a very tough thing to say, but for some people who hear that, they say, I want to live in my car till I die. And I've even thought about that, so I'm not going to say you're wrong for that, but, there's always going to come a day where you may have to get off the road. So it's just something to give thought to, that once you get on the road, getting off is going to be a challenge, mentally and financially. Like I say, whether you're going to have to upfront money to get back into an apartment, first and last month security deposit, upfront money to buy a house, a certain percentage down and a mortgage, or just pay something cash. You're going to have all that savings, the mental aspect of seeing your savings account go down because you're putting it into property. And so, for someone living cheap, for someone who gets used to not a lot of bills, you get addicted to this cheap lifestyle. Again, I think living cheap has a level of a mental obsession. It's a video game. And we know people get obsessed with video games. We know that in the mind is a very delicate thing. It forms habits. Humans are creatures of habit, not creatures of adaptation. The human mind forms around a structure, and then it builds like substructures, right? So the human mind does not constantly reevaluate new ways to do things. You almost have to push it, train it, discipline it. So the mind is almost like the muscle, okay? You don't want to go to the gym. When you go to the gym, you tear your muscle. When you sleep, it repairs. But, you're kind of putting resistance on your muscles in order to grow them. The mind is the same way. The mind doesn't want to work out. The mind doesn't want to adapt. It's a strain. It's not ease. And so the mind is lethargic if you don't discipline it. So in order to adapt, to change, to accept difference, you put a demand on your mind. Now it grows just like your muscles grow. The more you work out, it's good for you, but it's not easy. Most people prefer a recliner over an incliner. So it's something to give thought of, that I worry about even for myself at times. I say, man, am I going to be able to pull the trigger when it's time to get off the road? Now, when will that time be? I'm 41. I could probably do this as long as my health would maintain, God willing, into my 60s or 70s. But, I don't think I'd want to. And at a certain point, financially, depending on how well you're doing, it's just asset allocation, because how much you're going to put in savings, how much you're going to invest. You may want to put a percentage of your net worth in real estate. Now, for most people living in their vehicle, I don't think they're really worried about asset allocation or inflation. I think most people are just worried about where to park and, etc. So, you kind of got to think of all these factors, even before you get on the road, your exit strategy. Definitely always want to have enough in savings to get back off the road if you need to. But mentally, you're going to face this challenge that you may put yourself in a corner that you are subject to living in your car the rest of your life, because the mental strain of getting off the road, it may be so hard that you refuse to. And I'm not saying it's wrong. If you're healthy on the road and you're able to navigate, society and not get in trouble and take care of yourself, it's not wrong. But it's just something that I'm giving thought to, and that I would like to share from my experience now, 4 years on the road. So, hopefully this video helps you in some way. If it does, I appreciate if you click that thumbs up. If you want to support the channel, click that blue join button. It's just 33 cents a day to be a member to support the channel. You can cancel at any time. Also, it gives you unlimited access to all my live feeds, which I do every day. Also, if you want to check out my playlist on my channel, there's thousands of free videos talking about the nomadic life, documenting my experience, also life lessons in different places I've visited. And at the end of the day, look, we're all on our own journey to decide how we want to live our life. You're very fortunate if you have your health and wherewithal to do so. Do the best you can. You take life one day at a time. Manage your time. Structure your day. If you have nothing to do, go work out. Go for a walk. Do laundry. Take a shower. Do something productive. Because when you're more productive, you feel better about yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and usually get more creativity, and then you know what to do next. Self-care is the compass to your life, however you choose to live, in your car or house. I thank you again for watching. I truly appreciate all the support of the channel, and I will see you guys and girls in the next video. Peace.